Edward Jenner noticed that milkmaids who caught the cowpox virus did not get smallpox. When a smallpox outbreak happened in his hometown, he advised the cattle workers to be inoculated with the cowpox virus. The workers came back and explained that they thought that this caused them not to be infected with smallpox. This Jenner formulated a hypothesis that if you had the cowpox virus, you were not likely to end up with smallpox. However, he had not yet created a controlled experiment to back up his hypothesis. When a milkmaid contracted cowpox, she went to Jenner to be treated. Jenner saw this as an opportunity, and he took an 8-year-old boy and inoculated him with a small portion of the cowpox virus. Now, cowpox is not usually deadly. The boy was fine. He had a fever and a few other symptoms. Then Jenner decided to take the smallpox virus, which is a very, very deadly virus, and inject this boy with it to see if he would develop smallpox or not. He didn't, and thus vaccines were created. In my opinion, vaccines are one of the greatest scientific discoveries to date, probably. In science, such as in life, there are a lot of moral questions that arise. Today, I don't think we'd be okay with giving an 8-year-old a deadly virus. However, if a consenting adult were to have a scientific experiment that was controversial conducted on them, even if they knew the risk was death or something worse, is that okay? And by something worse than death, I mean something like a slow and painful state of dying a little bit each day. It is easy to sometimes look at science research and be like, that was something we should not have done. And an example of this is the Tuskegee experiment. The Tuskegee experiment was where the US government said that they were helping these rural African American individuals get treatment for their syphilis. At the time, syphilis was treated. You could treat it with penicillin and you would usually be fine. For the most part, if it's left untreated, you die a painful, slow, agonizing death. The US government lied to these people. They were basically doing research on how the disease syphilis progressed in a human. These people died needlessly and they did not volunteer for this experiment. They were tricked. The Tuskegee experiment was unethical and should not have taken place. In today's science, there are many controversial things that are going on and being conducted today, such as cloning and synthetic biology. One thing that gets brought up a lot is embryonic stem cell research. This is a process that creates a human embryonic stem cell line. But in order to create that, it destroys a human embryo that was created in the lab. There's people who think that it's science and it's an experiment in a laboratory, and then there's people who think that it's murder and you're killing a human life. My question is, where do we put this line in science? Where do we put this moral line? Do we base it on a religious belief? And if so, which religion? Do we base it on societal morals at the time? And if so, do we base it on more conservative morals or more liberal morals? Or do we leave it to the scientific community's morals/ethics? Whatever the science community as a whole agrees on. I, of course, have my opinions and thoughts on these issues, but I'd really like to hear from you. Where do you think the moral line should be set in science? Who do you think should set that line? What research is going on today that you think should not be conducted, or what research is not being conducted that you think should be conducted? Comment. I forgot to say that I'm not even sure if this is legal, but I am not going to punish you. I think that you really tried to get your video up and you had technical difficulties. Is that allowed?